undergrad. How to mispronounce kids'
My entire life it's been mispronounced. So it's
mine. I mean, nobody gets Roman. Nobody gets Roman. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's close.
Yeah.
Every time I call Disney, I'm like, I call you every day, and I talk to the same person every day. It's like, we've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
So okay. All right. So I think we should be live. Yes, we are. So, hey, everybody, guess what? We're back. And look, we have a guest. We have Matt from parksnacker.com. We're going to talk about his app, developing an app, being a Disney fan, being invested that heavily in the Disney fandom where you develop an app to help other Disney fans eat cool stuff. And I mean, I'm going down Friday. I can't wait to use it. This is going to be for Monday, so it'll be in the past by the time it comes out. So it's going to be like a time-space thing. Looking at blue milk right now. So, and I've never tried it, so I don't know.
Blue. I'm actually more the green milk. I like the green milk more.
I haven't tried either.
It's I feel like there's so many other better snacks than the blue or green milk. I would just say save your money for something else, but if you want it, go for it.
We're going to talk about that because you're going to be the expert here. Well, so because you see all the data, so you're like the lens.
You're
like the lens test of snacks. All right, so let's keep cracking here, and because I know you got some stuff to get done. Hey, and glad to have Kate back. Glad to have Margie and Herschel.
Hey guys,
back. We are glad to have you back. I know it's like crazy, right? I mean, boom! I'm telling you what, I have sources. I mean, if somebody can't make it, boom! 5 minutes later, we get stuff done. All right,
I'm here. I can help out tonight.
Matt is the bomb here because I got to go out of town. I got to have a show. We never miss shows. Okay, 2065. Let's see. No holidays on Mondays. We're good. Okay. Not opening. Dog sleeping. So we should be good. All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 2065 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. And again, congratulations to everybody who was down at the Spring Surprise weekend down at Walt Disney World. I hope those sneakers dried out by now because, of course, we are recording this one a little bit before the weekend, but I'm guessing that more than a couple of raindrops fell on us while we were down there. But you know what? It's just liquid sunshine, and I hope you had a good time. And the medals were there. That was a little bit of a crisis there for a little bit earlier in the week. More importantly, that you have the memories in your heart, you have the pictures on your phone, and you just have lots of fun stories to tell. Whether good or bad, it's a story. It's something to share. And we are here to share some stories on a Monday, as we always do. And it's baseball season, right? Opening day is later on this week. Cardinals open on Thursday against the Pirates. Albert Pujols is in the lineup. I can't believe I'm saying that. Wainwright, Pujols, and Yachty in the lineup all together on Thursday. Oh, it's awesome. But speaking of baseball, we have an instant pinch hitter today because we had a cancellation last minute. And Matt is joining us. Matt Zavita, he is here from parksnacker.com. We're going to have an interesting show today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Matt, thanks for jumping in with us today.
Hey, no problem, Mike. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. And, luckily, it worked out. We just put the baby down. She's asleep. I was getting into my, my nightly routine. So we're good to go, man.
Okay. So it's been quite a while since I've had a baby, and my nightly routine just usually consists of watching the news, having a little Debbie snack, usually like a zebra cake or something, a glass of milk. Now, we talk blue milk, which we'll talk about a lot of snacks here on today's show. So if you're hungry, be ready, even if you're not hungry. But what's your nightly routine like? I mean, I forgot what it is, kind of like having a baby, and you have an app, so you're taking care of that all the time. So what's it like?
I mean, to keep it short, luckily the baby sleeps well. She goes to bed by 7. She goes down pretty easily. And then, it's mostly just cleaning up the kitchen because, it's always messy after dinner from her. And then, either watching TV, I record 2 different podcasts between Monday nights and Wednesday nights. So that keeps me busy. And then, the app stuff as well. So, there's always something to look forward towards.
I'm recording podcasts on Mondays and Wednesday nights. I have no idea what that's like.
I don't think you know. Yeah.
In my life for the last 15 years. Like, you want to do something on a Monday or Wednesday? Nope. It's already.
Nope.
That's exactly my wife knows. You can't do that on those 2 nights. So that's pretty funny. Okay. So where are you from? Let everybody know where you're from, and then we'll kind of jump into some of your Disney background, and we'll have a good time talking about your backstory here.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from New Jersey. So, I get the Florida if I'm lucky, once a year. I've only been to Disney maybe like 10 times in my life. Disney World. I've been to Disneyland a few times. But Disney has just been with me since I was a kid. I've just loved it, ever since. And, through that love, I did a podcast for a few years. And then, after that, I needed something new, creatively to do. I needed something just different. My heart wasn't in the podcast anymore, but, now I'm doing another Disney podcast. So that's, it's back in it there. But, that's kind of how I, started the app. It was all from I feel like the 90s, just going a couple of times in the 90s is what made my love for Disney so much. I'm just thankful my dad in 94 on our first trip, he had a VHS 2 hours filled. I watched that all the time. And I think I have memories from 94, but it's just from watching that video over and over.
So real quick, outside of Disney, you're from Jersey. Were you guys on the St. Peter's Peacock wagon out there? Was that for basketball?
Yeah, I think everyone became a Peacock fan in the past couple of weeks, myself included. Everyone's on the bandwagon. So yeah, but it's just a small little college that's in Jersey City over here. So it was just nuts to see them go to the Final Four, or not the Final Four, the Elite Eight. Yeah.
We were cheering for, SEC all the way, but I was cheering for them. I live in St. Peters, Missouri, and we had a peacock, two peacocks randomly just pop out somewhere a couple summers. I was laying on my hammock and two peacocks walked up right after we moved into the house. And I'm like, man, we only moved like 20 miles away and there's peacocks out here. What's going on? We're kind of in the city. But anyway, all right. So you mentioned kind of, looking at that tape from the 90s when you first went down. Everybody kind of reminisces. I think everybody looks back on the parks, whether it was, the early 2000s, the early 2010s, oh man, if we could go back to that time, it was so much better. Is there something you would go back to in the past that you think, that was like prime Disney for me? If they could go back to this kind of thing, what is Disney missing that they did better in the past that they're not doing now? What'd you think?
I think early 2000s, I went in 98 and 2004, and I think the times were just simpler back then. There's too much to think about right now going on a Disney vacation. I think we're just on our phones a lot, and I'm not making it any easier by having an app for Disney, but we're trying to help the vacation as well on the food side. But I think just times were just a bit simpler, back then. So hopefully, I'm not sure if it's ever going to get that way again, but that's kind of what I miss. So.
Yeah, I look at it like it's kind of an evolution of the vacation from when I first went in, like I said, the early 2000s to now it's 2022. Things have definitely changed on the attractions and the restaurants. In the world in general. Twitter to me changed my world. The iPhone changed my world because I feel like days were better, honestly, before that. Just in general, for my mental health, you just felt like you were freer. Because I just have the kind of personality. Even if I'm not interacting on Twitter, I'm always reading Twitter. I'm always just I just got to be checking things. I got to be picking up a thing. So
that's Instagram for me. I stay away from Twitter for the most part. I can't.
It's not good usually, but it's like watching a train wreck. I know. It's
yeah.
You're smarter than I am, but it's one of those things though. I always say to myself, well, is the iPhone now or the smartphone kind of the evolution of the park map that we had like in the 90s? You walk
pretty much, yeah.
Because I think a lot of us are kind of big Disney nerds, and some people would walk into a theme park and maybe not grab a park map and just walk around kind of in, just like ignorant bliss all day and be happy. It's not a bad thing, but I was always one that would grab the park map and have to kind of come up with a plan immediately. Like, okay, like what time is this, this live entertainment? What are we going to do first? Where might we eat tonight here in the theme park? And what do I have to do today? So, we have so much information today, and we'll talk about that with your app. But it's such a different experience. But I am with you though. If we could go back to a day where I could just roll into the Magic Kingdom and just do what I want, not have to really plan anything, I think I would go back to that if I could.
Yeah, I would. It was nice when you could be spontaneous and just like go on a whim. Because there was a few years ago, as I even did a trip report with you. We booked it a month out, and again, I'm from New Jersey, so we don't go that often, but it was nice being able to book a month out and just like kind of go. But now you have to worry about, park reservations and such like that. But, maybe that'll be gone in due time. So we'll see.
But I have heard from our audience, especially because our audience is kind of the hardcore Disney nerd, which again, I say that in a loving fashion. I'm one of you. Trust me, I love it. We all are. And I agree, with a lot, what a lot of people say is that when you go down to Walt Disney World, the trip goes so quick. Like I was there this past weekend, Friday to a Monday, and it's like, you don't even realize you're there and you're home. But if you get into the trip planning, like, okay, I got to decide where I'm going to put my park reservations. I got to decide my ADRs. I got to decide, okay, what do I want to get Genie Plus, and what attractions do I hope to use Genie Plus for? Am I going to buy lightning lanes? And I think with these complex trips, as much as a lot of us, and I'm not a big planner for myself. I do this for everybody else for a living. That's what I do. It's ironic. I'm terrible. I never make ADRs for myself, my family. But the thing is, I think a lot of people enjoy it because it expands out the kind of the length of not the trip, but the experience of the trip, right? Because yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how, maybe that's what people are thinking, but because it's exciting to think about what you're going to do before the trip. So
for sure. Yeah.
So we were advertising your app here a few months back when it was launching. It was very exciting. So Park Snacker is the app. And let me just tell you, it's hard to say when you're saying ad read. I was always like, I guess Snacker. Park Snacker. Good name though. It's just hard to say for a podcast.
Thank you.
So how did you get the idea for this app? Other than, do you go down? Are you like a big snacker? Is that like one of the goals of your trip? Do you like the attractions equally? What's the story?
Yeah. So, at least with like going on a Disney World vacation now, to me, it's actually all about the food. That's the thing I eat the most. I literally don't have a budget when I go down. It's just like, I'll eat whatever. I'll snack as much as I want. I love the food. But getting this idea, and I'll go into exactly what it is. I guess here, this is the basis of it. On our app, Park Snacker, you can rate, review, and explore, discover over 60,000 menu items at Walt Disney World. That's
insane. That is 60,000 items. That is insanity.
It's pretty much every location. And as of right now, we're getting, the Connections Eatery just was released today. So we're getting that menu on there. So we have menus on there that have everything you need. And the one thing that's unique to our menus is, because it's, you're able to rate every item. So if you like the blue milk, you can rate it a 5. If you dislike it, you can rate it a 1, whatever. Each item gets their own profile and average rating. So say there's like 20 people rating the blue milk, you're going to get the average rating. So you're going to know the general consensus of what someone likes. So imagine that for blue milk, but with every single menu item at Walt Disney World. So it's really there to help you to plan what you may or may not want to eat on your trip. But, coming up with the idea, I feel like, I listen to your podcast religiously since like 2013. And the one thing, on Trip Reports and, on other Disney podcasts, the one thing people talk about the most is food and drinks at Walt Disney World. The rides are always there. They're rarely changing. There's a new ride every once in a while. There's new food items every single day at Disney World, every day, and we see it. And there's always something weird coming out. Hey, this showed up here. Swirls on the Water, the new Dole Whip location, showed up at Disney Springs randomly the other day. There's always something. It's ever changing. And we coming up with the idea. I love to rate and review things. There's several apps for movies. So I'm a huge movie buff. I know you're not Mike, so. But with movies, there's an app where you can rate and review every single movie. For beer, if you like beer, there's another one for beer. There's one for wine, and I use all those, and I love it. And I told you I was looking for, I had stopped the podcast. The old podcast was called Excess Press, and it was Disney related, but I wasn't there creatively anymore, and I just, I stopped it. So, for me, by trade, my everyday job, I'm a visual experience designer. And, so I know how to make experiences on on apps and websites and such. And I had a good friend who is, a software engineer. So he does all the coding. I do all the, visual design. And one day he was just like, "Hey, why don't we build an app together?" Because he's been learning himself and such. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea." And then one at 10 o'clock at night, I'm walking the dog, and it just came to me like, "Oh, why don't we do an app for Disney food?" Because that's the one thing I think all Disney fans unite around is like
Yes.
Disney food. So that's kind of how we came up with the concept.
And that is so interesting because I will tell you firsthand right now. So Scott has been down. My good buddy Scott comes on the show a lot. He's, basically the fourth member of the team at this point. And he went down because he was doing his family vacation for like 10 days before the spring surprise races. That was a tail end of his trip.
Yeah.
And so he was down there and I was working all week. I was just coming down for the races over the weekend. Well, of course, anytime he's there and I'm not, every time he eats a meal, he takes a picture of it and he texts it to me. So I get it. I'm
That's
like,
horrible. That's so mean of him.
Brutal. It's brutal because it was like a Monday morning, busiest day of my week. And I have the 2 podcasts to record in the evening. So I'm always working even harder to try to get everything done before the shows and all that. So I eat my lunch every day at 11:30 and I always have I do the same thing every day. Like, I always eat Taco Bell. I always have a turkey sandwich and some baked chips. And so I just had sat down at my table in the house, I'm home by myself, baked chips, turkey sandwich, and he texts me and like I forget where he was eating, but I mean it was just awesome looking. I'm like, knock it off. And he does this all the time. But you're exactly right. I mean, what do we do when we're at Walt Disney World? I mean, a lot of us, we will share with our friends and family back home, like, check out this cupcake. You got to see this.
Yeah.
His thing is Disney makes them so visual. I mean, they taste great too for the most part, but I mean, they look good, the meals and everything that we have. So that's very cool with your background. And I think one thing that you mentioned too is that's super interesting is that you got to find something you have a passion for, right? I mean, the thing was when I started this show, just on a personal note, I loved way back in like the early 2000s. I would go all over the internet and just try to find any trip reports that I could read because, I read guidebooks, but like trip reports, this was before social media. So trip reports was like as close to real time as you could get to being at Walt Disney World. Cause there were like no live feeds. There was nothing like that. So if somebody got back and posted a trip report from like last month, it was like, oh my gosh, that's what it was like last month. Parks. So then I thought, God, what if I could just listen to them like an audiobook? What if we could just talk about it?
Yeah.
So that's how I started. So I love how you took your passion, but also your, what you do for a living and you found a partner and it all came together. So how quickly does something like this come together? Because you have an idea, but then there's a lot of back end stuff and a lot of work. I mean, was there anything that surprised you about putting the app together?
It definitely takes a lot longer than I thought. I set out an initial timeline and we pretty much doubled the timeline. But we started, I feel like if it wasn't for the pandemic, this probably wouldn't have happened. We were home and we needed something to do. So we had all this extra time on our hands. So we started June 2020, and then we finally did a closed beta for 100 or so people in March of 2021. It's actually, just over a year since we let people on it. And then we did a full launch back at the end of October of 2021. So now, we have a lot of users on there, and it's great because, it's a social app. So you can follow me on there at Park Snacker Matt. This is available for iOS and Android. So, as we're talking about today, if you want, download it and, you can kind of sign up for it. It's easy. And then, create an account and, I'll kind of walk you through it. But, so, I think the most surprising thing was just, it takes a lot longer. But, luckily I had such a great partner who, we worked well together. I should say my other partner is Doug. He's one of my best friends for a really, really long time. Not as big as a Disney fan as me, but he just likes, coding and doing such. And, he did a phenomenal job just putting this together. It'd be nowhere if it wasn't for him. So,
so in doing this though, that's interesting that Doug is invested in kind of the whwhole Disney. He probably thinks we're crazy. I mean, I'd imagine if he's a coder, he's pretty much like a ones and zeros type guy, like most of the coders I know are just very, just like straightforward,
No, luckily he's different than most because
most of them I know, you're like, this is crazy. You know,
no.
that's cool though. That's cool. Now, have you taken him to Walt Disney World though to kind of walk around and experience it and kind of? I mean, have you guys gone down there together? I mean,
neither of us have been down since we've created the app. We haven't.
Awesome. So you guys gotta do that.
We haven't been able to use it since we've been down. Yeah,
but I mean, think about how excited you're going to be. Say you're walking around Epcot, Food and Wine Festival, Flower and Garden, you see somebody popping up your app. I mean, is that like the ultimate dream right there?
I hope, yeah. When I go, I'm going to be wearing a T-shirt with a QR code on my back so people could just scan it and download the app. I'm not even joking when I say that. Every day it's going to be a different shirt with a QR code.
Oh my God, that's a great idea. I should put that on the back of my running shirt. Like,
yeah, you should.
Like, you want to listen to the podcast while we run here for the next 6 hours and hate life? Just QR code. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. So I got to ask you, because I have questions about this too, because I want to talk about a few other features of the app, but I mean, you mentioned 60,000 items and stuff like that. Like, I mean, 2 guys. So how do you keep up with all this? I mean, because right now, I mean, as we're talking, Disney's probably, announced a snack at Disney Springs or something over at Saratoga, or, some kind of new beignet over at French Quarter. Like, I mean, it seems like an impossible task. Like, how does that even work?
Without getting into too much detail, because we have pretty much almost every menu on there. We get it from a few different areas, across the internet. We kind of just crowdsource it and bring it into our app. And once now that I know Connections Eatery is up, that menu's out, so we're getting that, putting it in. But sometimes there's like one-off snacks that show up, at the ganachery, or there's like, for example, like, when a Marvel show comes out, Moon Knight actually premieres as of recording. So I'm sure that, somewhere in Disney Springs, there's probably like a Moon Knight, cupcake or, whatever, Mickey Dome or something. I know they did it with Loki last year. So with me, and what's the bad thing and good thing, I'm looking at food every single day, Walt Disney World food, and I can't have it. And I'm always up, and I always have the knowledge of kind of what's always new. There's lots of like wonderful Disney food bloggers down there that have like amazing Instagram accounts that they're on it 24/7. I'm like, once we make some money, we got to hire these people to come work for us, because they know the ins and outs. They know what's new. It's like, how do these people find out? But
what a life. Yeah. People get to go to the parks and just take pictures of cupcakes and eat them. I mean,
pretty much. Yeah, I'm jealous. But,
I think I have a good life because I get to go to Disney a few times a year for work. But I mean, these people are in the parks like 300 days a year and also eating good stuff. I mean, like,
yep.
So, okay, so talk to us about a couple other features of the app, because the thing is, I'm looking at, you can go to parksnacker.com if you kind of want to see an overview of it, and then you can go to your app store and download it to your device. But the thing I notice is that this is just personally, and I'm just saying this because I'm always on I'm an iOS guy, I'm a Mac guy, I'm an Apple guy, and it just looks like a clean interface, right? It's got visual pictures, but it's got the information, but it's very, the screenshots here look very iOS. They look very clean, very easy to navigate, and it just seems like it's you can get your information you need, you can share the information you want, and just kind of get in, get out. And I think that's the goal of something in a theme park, right?
Yeah. You want to, when it comes to design, you want to make something that's familiar to people, because there's so many apps that just inspire other apps. And, our app was inspired by, lots of others. And we kind of took that and, created some new things for us. Some of the things that we could talk about with the app, the one thing that I love about it the most is that it's social. So, Mike, if you're going down this weekend, you create your account and you're in the park, you're snacking at something at Epcot, you can go in, rate that item, and then it'll show up on an activity feed. So everyone gets an activity feed, similar to like Facebook or Instagram, whatever, everything has an activity feed. You're seeing what your friends, your family, or just other people on the app that you follow, you're seeing what they're rating. So, right on that activity feed, there's a few different things you could do. So for example, Mike rates, the caramel apple oatmeal cookie from Caramel Couché over in Germany. He pops a photo in there. He has a rating of like a 5. and you're like, oh, wow, I really like that. So, you can, tell Mike, oh, I like your post, or you want to comment on the post. Or one of my favorite features, and I think is one of the most important to this app, is our snack list feature. So right on each post, or, menu item or item profile, you can add it to your snack list. And pretty much what it does, like, I'm sure lots of people have watch lists out there for things they want to watch and on TV or movies. It's the same thing with snacks. So it's a way for you to remember what you've seen in the app. And then when you go to the parks, you could pop it up and be like, oh, that's right, I added this to my snack list. Let me go to this place and try it out. And I think that's going to be a super helpful feature for you to, plan your trip, especially, like me. I have, I think, like, 90 items or something in my snack list right now, just because I've been seeing what all these people are posting. I'm just jealous because I want all of it. So, like, I have 90 items in my snack list. I'm not going to eat all of them, but at least I have so many different options that I can try now on our trip. We're going for, 8 days in September. So I'm like, super pumped to try that out. So, the activity feed is just for another way for you to interact with your friends and just see what they're eating, as they're, in the parks, or, maybe you come back from your trip and you rate all your food items. So that's pretty fun.
I think that is a killer, part of this app, because I think a lot of us have done this in the past, maybe paper pencil, or, you've done it in like your notes app of your device. But this is just, when I'm looking at the app itself, for example, it's got a screenshot here of like the Magic Kingdom, the things that I totally forgot. One of my favorite things of the Magic Kingdom is that Cheshire cattail thing.
Yes,
I love that thing. But I haven't had one in years because I just walk past. I always forget it's there. But if I have it, and the thing is, it gives, where it is. It says it's in Fantasyland, but it also has the current rating, what everybody's rating it right next to it. So yeah, I mean, this is, a 3.9. I don't care. In my book, it's a 5.0. So I'm gonna,
yeah.
And I'm going to rate it. And I'm going to bring everything up to at least a 4. So
yeah,
I think that is a cool thing. And, the pictures too, I think that's really helpful, because I'm telling you, from the perspective of a dad that has kids that are picky eaters, Disney, a lot of times when they try to describe things, so maybe it's just a Midwest thing. And I know I get flack from people from Missouri aren't, backwoods, and they understand fancy stuff. But I didn't grow up with a lot of fancy stuff, but like when Disney will use fancy words to describe their foods,
they do.
A picture though is 1,000 words. Like if I can show Mallory, like, this is what the item looks like, then we'll decide, do we want that or not, rather than the word description. So I think, if somebody snaps a picture, that, and also it kind of tells you like what the value is, because you can kind of see what the size is, stuff like that.
Yeah. And people, you say that. So people, when they write reviews, I just saw it today, like 20 minutes ago, a guy that, I follow on the app, he's in Epcot, and he ate, I think he ate something from the Food and Wine, or the Flower and Garden Festival. And he's like, hey, this was really good, but it was too small for the dollar price. And he dropped the rating just because of that. It was just too small. So you're going to get ideas like that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Seeing photos, because, I'll describe the menus, because the menus is a big part of the app. It's going to be very similar to what you see on like the Disney app and such. We have, pretty much everything on the app, but what you're going to see is the average rating, what kind of Mike was just talking about. You're going to know whether it's good or bad. And it's funny, when we did initial user testing, when people were looking at the menus, instead of looking at the menu names, they were actually looking at the numbers to see which things had the highest number on the. And we heard, I think it was like, we did like, I think like 80% of people that we tested said, oh yeah, I actually was looking at the numbers, seeing which had the highest number. So, but yeah. And then on the menu, like if you click into each item, like I was saying before, each item gets what we call an item profile. And what that's describing is, the name, exactly the location, whether it's, say the Dole Whip, it's at Aloha Isle, in the Adventureland in the Magic Kingdom. You're going to see how many ratings it has, the average rating. You're going to see a nice bar graph of like, kind of like where the ratings lie. You can rate an item between a 0.5 star up to 5 stars, and it goes in 0.5 star increments. If you like the item, if you want to try it, add it to your snack list. You can add the item to your profile, so that's how you can rate it. You can add it to your a custom list. I'll get to that soon. That's what Mike was kind of describing before. Then, as Mike, you were saying, all the photos are there. So you'll see, as many ratings as there are, or like everything is optional when you rate. Like you don't have to add a photo, but for the people that do add photos, you'll see like, multiple of the same exact items. So you could see 20 photos of like the same Dole Whip over and over. But the other thing that's kind of good about it, people also like to post their photos on Instagram. Maybe you'll get inspiration of how to take a photo of your food for Instagram, So
well, too, I would think too, it shows consistency of the product too, right?
Yes.
I mean, sometimes, especially when you have something like an ice cream or, a cold treat, like sometimes the picture that Disney gives you is not necessarily like what you're served, the one that's on the Disney, blog or whatever isn't always as beautiful. That was always beautiful. And the one you get handed isn't. So it's kind of real, just like seeing the real world. So.
And we see that in the app too. We actually see it mostly from like festival items, because you can go in and rate festival items, but from year to year that, for instance, I remember like from the Festival of the Holidays, this is the first one I remember. It was like the Linzer cookie. People were saying it was really good last year, but terrible this year. Something changed about it, and it was just not as good. So yeah, there's, I kind of mentioned, creating a list yourself. So I talked about the snack list. People love to create their own lists. So Mike, you mentioned there's a screenshot on our website called Favorite Snacks in Magic Kingdom. And, it could be a list that you just want to add for, your own sake. People can come out and check your lists. So, for example, you're planning ahead. You want to get really specific. Oh, foods I want to try at the Flower and Garden Festival. You can add it to that on your custom list. Or if you want to do like best lounge drinks, you could do that. Anything. You could be as creative as you want. Best food shaped like Mickey Mouse, like anything you want, you can, kind of add it to your own list.
But I could, so somebody creates one of these lists, I could see their list. So say Scott's down there, he comes up with the best, ice creams around Crescent Lake in like, I could like, I got to see that. So there's some way I could see his list and then make sure like, okay, I'm going to take your list and use your list for my trip.
Yeah. Since it's, it's all social, everyone gets, we can move on to this, there's so much to cover with the app, but moving on from that, everyone gets their own profile and their lists are part of that. So you can go, I think I don't have many lists, but because I'm just not into creating lists, but there are people that are into creating it.
Oh my God, my wife is the list queen, just by the record.
Yeah.
When we go on our next trip, I'll tell her this, and you'll have 8,000 lists. I mean, but usually stuff I have to do, but I don't mind for snacks.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So each profile gets that, but on your own profile, you can people, for a way to get people to know you, you can add what your favorite snacks are on there. So for me, my favorite snacks are the caramel apple cookie. I mentioned that before. It's, it's actually, it looks like it's changed a bit since I last went. They used to drizzle caramel on top, not anymore for some reason. If you ever go to Geyser Point, get the bison cheeseburger. It's phenomenal. And then, the Cheshire cattail is also one of my favorites as well. I love that thing.
I've not had that in years. But I think that's one of the beauties of this app. Like it'll surface things that you may love, but you just because you mentioned so many items, and I think it's just one of those things. Like even on here, just the cinnamon roll. That's very simple. But I haven't gone to Gaston's Tavern and had a cinnamon roll probably in 3 years or so.
Yeah.
I could have.
And then, you mentioned, so there's the Mickey Colossal cinnamon roll. It's at several different locations throughout, the Disney parks. I think there's one in Magic Kingdom and a couple in Animal Kingdom. The one at Creature Comforts apparently is the best one, at Disney. So, but yeah, even on your profile, you have all of your photos there, so people can go to your profile grid, check out all the photos you tagged, all of your reviews. The people that you're following, it's also a way for you to really kind of digest the information. There's a lot. And the one thing, I want to go back a bit, because I want to talk a little bit about just like how you rate and review an item. Now, everything is optional on that page. So when you go to rate an item, what you can do is you can add a photo. If you don't want to add a photo, you don't have to. You can rate an item. If you don't want to rate it, you don't have to. The other feature we have is, tracking food, as in like, it's kind of like a diary. That's
Oh my
that's
gosh,
what
I do not want to do that. Please, no, I don't want to know.
I love the diary feature, especially for like, for other apps that I use. I like to know when I had what. So
oh, that would be an
yes.
ugly thing when I get home. I'd have to delete.
Yeah, so you can track the date that you had the food item, and then if you want to write a review. So for me, for instance, I hate writing reviews. I'm just like not into it. So like I would just add a photo and add a rating, track the date, and be done. So, but if you don't want to do any of that, you just want to add the item to your profile, you can just go ahead and add it. But so it comes with a bunch of different ways for you to interact with that food item. But one of the biggest things about this app, and I think our favorite page is the Discover page. This is really where you can make some damage for yourself and finding things that you want to eat, because if anyone's on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, there's always a trending section.
Right.
We have one of those sections as well. We have a trending food and drink section. And that's my favorite part of the app, because you can see what people are posting about the most. Right now, the number one trending item is the Fruit Loop shake over at the Epcot Sunshine Griddle booth during the Flower and Garden Festival. It's Fruit Loops in a shake.
That's the one over by Test Track, right? I almost had that last.
I don't know where the Sunshine Griddle is exactly located.
I'm not sure, but yeah,
you know what? I think it is, because I see a photo in the background. It looks like the donut box, so I think that might be the location. Yeah,
I was not that last year.
Yeah, yeah. So you can find a lot of things around there. So there's trending locations. So maybe there's a menu that you've never heard before, or a location you want to check it out. And then Mike, we were talking about lists, finding lists. We also have an area for lists. So you can find, what other people are kind of writing about, trending reviews. But then my favorite part of the app is the popular section. This is the part of the app where you can pretty much just look at photos of food for, as long as you can. There's just endless, something piques your interest by looking at this food item. You can go ahead, tap into it, and learn more about it. It's awesome. We love it. And then, the biggest part of this page is also the search bar. The search bar does a lot of heavy lifting, where you can search for items. You can search for menus at different locations. You can search for lists. So for example, if you type in like burger and you look in the list area, you'll get all the lists that have burger in the title. So it could be like, best burgers at Disney or whatever. Like that'll help you find other lists of people creating that people have created. And then you can find users. So if you want to follow me, Park Snacker Matt, you just go to that search item, tab over to the users, and you found me. So.
And follow me, because I'll be on there too. Be Our Guest Mike, of course. So I'll be on there because I'm going to be using that this weekend while I'm down. I can't wait. I'll be actually playing with it here as soon as we finish.
Yeah.
So we're just about out of time, but let me ask you a couple other things. So as this information has come in, is there anything that has surprised you as far as like ratings or like feedback that maybe, like the Dole Whip it's got shirts, it's got all the merchandise, like it's the end all do all Disney snack, and some people are down on other snacks. Have you seen anything that has surprised you as far as feedback from just what people are rating things, because you have so much information? Is there something that's like a kind of a sneaker, like a sleeper hit that pops up in the app? You're like, man, I don't know where that's coming from, but it's kind of popular.
It's tough, because I see so many new menu items I've never heard of. People are loving the I Lava You float. That thing is at the Sunshine Tree Terrace. But I think what's surprising me the most is how people are using now, for instance, I think this will be really helpful for, parents who are going with kids. You're talking about, going with Mallory, and how sometimes she could be, I believe she's the picky eater. Sorry.
Well, no, actually, her older daughter, this 26, is
Oh,
probably.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking, though, Matt, real quick. I'm going down with the cheerleading squad. Now, we have 9 cheerleading teams going down at the end of April. So I'm going to present this to all the cheer moms and dads that are going with us, because a lot of them just don't know Disney that well. And I think something like this, and obviously they all have young kids, most of them are at least like Mallory's age or younger, and they don't have a familiarity, but they will be in the parks because that's included in the package.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest regrets that we get is hardcore Disney fans, but also folks that are going for the first, second, or third time, is you get home and like, God, I wish I could have tried that. Like, I heard about that and I didn't even know it was like there until I get home. And like, this is a way to proactively, like, oh, well, I did get to try a cattail, a Cheshire cattail or something like that, or a cinnamon roll Gaston's Tavern. I think, in like you said, with kids and photos, and parents can like talk, because girls will they can do their own thing too.
Yeah, no, because with the kids thing, there's, I have, one of a close friend of mine. She is a local down there, and she has, I think, almost like 300 items rated. She has like the highest amount right now. But she goes with her kids a lot. So what she's doing is she's also rating the kids' menu items for her like 2-year-old. But it's not so much about like taste, but like portions for the kids. Is it enough? One time she was supposed to get grapes with her food, but instead she got grape tomatoes, which she was like, I don't think I'm supposed to get grape tomatoes. So, she's trying to help. She's trying to help the parents out there that have like young kids. So like when they look on the kids menu on our app, they'll be able to see, oh, this is good for kids, or this isn't. So I think that's one of the fun things that, when building the app, I never even thought about, but it's fun seeing how other people, going back to the question, what's surprising is just how people are using and interacting with the app. And, for me, like I said before, I don't like reviewing things or like typing things out. People leave novels on there, and I'm just like, I love it. It's, I love that people are doing it. I won't do it, but if that's how they want to use the app on every single item, that's amazing. I love it so much.
What I think, as we close this up, is that, it's very visual. It is very clean, and it's got a lot of information. There's a ton of information there to sort out. But I think it's going to be really easy to use in the theme parks. Like I said, you can get in, get out, have everything organized. You're not on your phone for 20 minutes trying to decide. You're going to have, easily navigatable and get everything done. But I think too, kind of, I don't know if you even thought about this, like as far as when you guys develop this app, is that this is just one of those things that when you're home and you're dreaming about your next Disney vacation, which is what we're doing 98% of the time, 98% of the time we're not there. We're listening to podcasts. We're looking at blogs. We're watching YouTube. We're doing all that stuff just to fill the time until we get back. This is kind of a fun way. And it's, it's ever changing, because the ratings are changing. The reviews are changing. New lists are being added. So it's kind of just it's an entertainment source as well as an information source. Once you get down there, it's kind of a twofold app there.
Yeah, I'm planning every single day of what I'm going to eat because of what people are are posting. So things are always changing, and the app is still in an early phase. We have so many big ideas. Like, we honestly, we don't want to stop at Disney World. We want to go to Disneyland. We want to go to the other parks, Universal. That's why we named it Park Snacker, because it's just not going to be Disney World. We're starting with Disney World because this is, the biggest vacation destination in the world. But, we want to, our next feature that's going to be added is the Epcot Festival Hub. It's going to be easier for you to browse, every festival, the booths at the festival. Because right now you kind of just search it, but right now we're going to condense it, and then, we're going to add even more to that. So we have a lot of ideas that we want to add, and, we can't wait to bring it to you guys. But yeah, just go to parksnacker.com. You have the 2 links there on, download for iOS or Android. Make sure you follow Mike and I, and, I can't wait to see you on there. And, I'm on Instagram all the time, at Park Snacker. Follow us on there. I'm posting photos of food all the time, stuff in our stories, trying to give you, up-to-date information on food as I can. So, yeah, Park Snacker. I love it.
I appreciate you jumping in here. And I think, today was a different show. So I hope everybody enjoyed it, because I just think it is super interesting. We do trip reports on Mondays, but, I think this is such an interesting story, because you took something that we all love. We go to Walt Disney World to eat. We go to ride the attractions, see the shows, stay in awesome hotels, run races, go to festivals. But everybody has fun snacks every single day of your trip. And you took it and turned it into something that's a passion for yours. But it's so cool, because it's something that can be in every person's hand right there. And you can socialize with other Disney fans about snacks. It's
and to be clear, it's just not snacks. It's every meal,
exactly.
Food. I want to make sure we're all clear. Is it's in the name, but it's everything. Every meal, every drink. We have someone who rates every Diet Coke that they get. They want to go. Mike, I know you're a fan of Diet Cokes, right? If
Coke Zero.
Coke Zero, that's what it is. Sorry, Coke Zero. I knew it was one of those.
No, I'll definitely. They're all the same to me, but I'll rate it once. They're not that big a difference, but
sometimes the fountain, the soft drinks don't come with enough ice.
You are right there. Yeah, you're right. Fountains could be different. Yeah,
fountains are different. Yeah,
you're 100% right. Well, no, man, I appreciate you jumping in here, and I can't wait to use it. Obviously, I'm back from the weekend, but I'll use it this weekend, and I've quite a few Walt Disney World trips coming up here soon. I'm going to be advocating for it and using it, and dreaming about my next snack here when I'm sitting around the house. It's going to be bad. I'm going to be hungry all the time, and I think our listeners will too. So thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem, Mike. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime. All right. Don't forget, today's show always brought to you by The Magic for Less Travel. Check them out today over at themagicforless.com. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. Agents are standing by right now to help you plan that trip. No cost to you. And they're going to get you the best deal possible and make that the most magical vacation ever, so you can eat all the good stuff while you're down there. Check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. It's one extra click, and it really does help us out. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Amazon. And also thank you to our patrons who support the show each and every month. We could not do it without you. And our patrons get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. If you'd like to support us, come on over to patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Give me a follow on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Be Our Guest Mike. Lots of pictures there from the spring surprise weekend this past weekend. Just got back today, so check those out. Of course, subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube, so you know every time we go live to record these podcasts. And if you don't mind, give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd sure appreciate that. And thanks to everybody who has done that already. It's really kind of you to do that. We appreciate it very much. Finally, join us this Sunday night as we'll get back together and take your calls live on Facebook and YouTube at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. You want to talk Disney? We want to talk to you. So call us this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We'll have a good time talking Disney. You want to talk about your favorite snack? Let's do it. All right, we're going to get out of here and let you get on with your week. So I appreciate you dropping in, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. A little bit of fun, and you might have to go grab a bag of Doritos or something out of the cabinet. Or you're rubbing out the Walt Disney World, just make it happen. Run up to QT or wherever your snack place is. Maybe you got a Buc-ee's or something where you live. I don't know. Make it happen. So we're going to get out of here, and I'm going to wish you a great Monday until we talk again on Wednesday. For Matt, I'm Mike, wishing you an awesome Monday. Time to get back to work, and we'll see you real soon. That was awesome, man. Thanks. I mean, did we cover most of it, you think?
Yeah, we got definitely the main gist of it. I think, looking at the website, we got pretty much everything. So, yeah, we're good.
So that's awesome. So we'll talk about the other stuff later, because I know you got to run. But, that was awesome. I'll get it out there on Monday. And, I'm going to download the app tonight, get it all set up, and I'll use it this weekend.
Sweet. Sounds good. Can't wait to hear what you think.
I'm hungry right now.
It's bad, Mike. I look at Disney food every single day. And not just like one or two things. It's like I'm browsing all the time. Yeah, it's not good.
The only good news is you're 1,000 miles away from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be tough.
Yes.
If you could go get it. You know, like if you could go get it, you'd be like 700 pounds. Like,
it'd be terrible.
It'd be terrible for discipline. Yeah, there's no way. So you're lucky. You're lucky in that sense. So, I appreciate it. So have a good recording tonight, and thanks for jumping in. You saved my skin. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. Enjoy the trip this weekend. All right.
I will. Take care.
All right,
Talk to you soon.
Care.